Connect the relay 51B to the highlighted hole in the top edge of the firewall panel 51A. Next, connect the end of the brake pump 51C to the highlighted hole in the firewall panel 51A. Secure the brake pump 51C to the firewall panel 51A with the CP screw. Finally, connect one end of the fuel line 51D to the free pivot on the fuel filter 10B. Insert the brake pump 52D into the brake booster 1, 52E and secure it from the other side with the BP screw. Insert the pivot on the hose bracket 52G into the highlighted semicircular hole in the brake booster 1, 52E. Connect one end of the brake booster vacuum hose 1, 52K to the pivot on the brake booster 1, 52E and the other end to the right pivot on the hose bracket 52G. Connect one end of the brake line 1, 52H to the highlighted pivot on the brake reservoir bottom 52C. Place the brake reservoir bottom 52C on the brake pump 52D and secure both parts with an AP screw. Attach the brake reservoir top 52A and the cap 52B to the brake reservoir bottom 52C. Place the brake booster 2, 52F onto the brake booster 1, 52E and secure the parts with 3 AP screws. Connect one end of the brake booster vacuum hose 2, 52L to the highlighted pivot on the brake booster 1, 52E. Fit the two pivots on the brake booster 2, 52F into the two holes in the firewall panel 51A and secure the assembly with 2 AP screws. Fit one end of the brake line 2, 52I to the highlighted pivot on the brake pump 52D. Finally, connect one end of the brake fluid overflow hose 52J to the pivot of the brake reservoir top 52A. Connect the hood lighting 53N to the two highlighted holes in the hood reinforcement 4A. Connect one end of the brake booster vacuum hose 3, 53B to the free pivot on the brake booster 1, 52E. Then connect the ends of the windshield washer fluid pipes 1, 53J longer, and 2, 53K shorter to the highlighted pivots on the firewall panel 51A. Connect parts 1, 53E and 2, 53F of the brake distributor, as shown in the image. Place the brake distributor 2, 53F over the two highlighted holes in the left engine bay panel 49A. Turn the assembly over and secure the brake distributor 2 to the left engine bay panel 49A with 2 AP screws. Connect one end of the brake line 5, 53G to the highlighted pivot on the brake distributor 2, 53F. Then secure the other end of the line to the pivot on the left engine bay panel 49A. Connect one end of the brake line 4, 53D to the pivot on one of the connectors 53H. Secure the other end of the line to the pivot on the brake valve 53A. Place the connector 53H and the brake valve 53A from the previous step over the highlighted holes in the left engine bay panel 49A. Insert the other connector 53H into the highlighted hole in the left engine bay panel 49A. Then attach one end of the brake line 3, 53C to the pivot on the brake valve 53A and the other end of the line to the highlighted pivot on the brake distributor 1, 53E. Insert one end of the front left brake hoses 1, 53I and 2, 53M into the pivots on the brake line connection fitting 53L. Note the correct orientation of the parts. Insert the pivot on the brake line connection fitting 53L into the highlighted hole in the left engine bay panel 49A. Connect the free end of the front left brake hose 1, 53I to the lower pivot on the brake distributor 1, 53E and pass the free end of the hose 2, 53M through the highlighted hole in the left engine bay panel 49A. Finally, connect the of left brake hose 2, 53M to the pivot on the front left brake caliper 15M.